#1 IronAge Booty Daddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Oh, I missed the buttons. Welcome back to, I don't even know what the title of this stream, debate, firestorm, something from Twitter, no idea. No idea. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stream tonight. We're possibly going to have an interesting conversation, a horrible conversation, or a mix of the two, or, you know, whatever. I'll just get nuked off of YouTube. We will find out. I'm going to conduct this a little bit differently than I do my normal streams. I will give a quick hello to the chat and say thank you for everybody who is here. I do appreciate all of you. And I will obviously welcome everybody into the chat tomorrow evening on the Wednesday Comic Shop stream, and where we cover a bunch of the new indie artists and new creators that are putting out some hopefully fantastic stuff. Really quickly, Wrangler dropped a 420 super chat over on YouTube. Thank you so much, Wrangler. I do appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, the quick and dirty of this is I got tagged in on Twitter on Friday. Lord Otter, I can thank Lord Otter for that one. I got tagged in on Friday on something where somebody was just mentioning how they were gathering over here. And I paid attention to the conversation, had a little bit of it, and decided I just don't like the way that conversations play out over on Twitter. And so I asked Erwin if he would be willing to do a live stream, and we can go through all of this. And in preparation for the live stream, in case, like I said, so some of the things that were said were things that kind of go against what I believe, and things that were said that I have said in the past. So I have made every single live stream that this channel has ever done live. So if for some reason anybody joins in and they go, no, we need to double check you on this, all of my live streams are there. All of my videos are there. You guys can go back and you can double check me. And we're going to start off by defining a couple of things. The first thing that we are going to define is the Iron Age. That's going to be that. Erwin, why don't you introduce yourself? Hello, good sir. How are you?
Hello. Happy to be here. Can everybody hear me?
Awesome. Yes, actually, that's an important thing. Guys, if he's a little quiet, let me know so I can roll him up, okay? I might actually... Louder. Right. I you know what? Here, let me do it this way. I'll just roll you up a little bit. There we go. All right. I got you up about 25% from where you were. Oh, he is a little quiet. Chat's saying you are a little quiet. Okay, so let me... God, I hate StreamYard when it does this. All right. Bring you up from 100 to 154. How about that? How about Erwin? How are you now? Chat. So, awesome. All right, like I said, so we can get into a lot of various different things this evening. We can get into a lot of, back conversations and so on and so forth. But I want to start here. Okay, they said it's better. So can you give me like a 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3, just up to like 5? So we can really test that.
2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi.
There you go. There you go. Okay, so hopefully he's loud enough. Some people are saying that you are already, but I want to make sure that you can be heard. It'd be disingenuous of me to have your audio low. Yeah, audio playing. Yeah, I know. I hate it.
Same here.
All right. No, it's audio issues are the bane of my existence. I absolutely...
Yep.
And my lovely wife is in the chat. She says, okay, this guy has an awesome voice. Can't deny it. So, already getting a compliment from my wife. Yeah. So, you don't sound bad on the mic, dude. You just don't.
Your wife has good taste. What can I say?
Well, I would question that. She married me, dude. Come on.
I don't know.
All right. So, to start everything off, like I said, we'll start this off with a definition, okay? Because if we can't define what we're talking about to continue forward with the conversation, there's no point. Because, like I said, don't know where this is going to go. So, the Iron Age, okay? What do you understand as the definition of the Iron Age? Do you know kind of what popularized the term and the sentiment around it?
Well, the thing is that I want to take Richard from IronAge Media at his word when he says the Iron Age is a decentralized movement of independent creators across genres and mediums, circumventing traditional producers to create the kinds of entertainment that they want to see. The problem is I don't know what he means by traditional or circumventing.
Traditional publishing houses, essentially what people would consider American traditional publishing houses, Hollywood, the corporations that pick and choose winners and make sure that they keep certain opinions, whether religious or political or otherwise, out of the fray.
So then what does that mean? Like, they just pick winners, and then Iron Age is to not pick winners?
No, Iron Age is to do it ourselves.
But what do we do?
We write books, create tabletop RPGs. We obviously create video games. What do you mean, what direction?
Like, what's the direction? If it's circumventing traditional publishers, what are we circumventing?
Okay. What do you understand as the definition of circumventing?
I would say it's something more like a more fancy way of saying going against, but you can correct me.
No, it's not going against. Circumventing traditionally means to go around. To get around. Okay,
so what are we going around?
You do understand what traditional publishing houses and traditional forms of media and how to get into the entertainment system have been for the last about 75 years, right? You are aware of how that works?
Let's see, 75, so that would be since the 1950s, right?
Mm-hmm. Hollywood in the 1950s really boomed at that point in time.
Okay, so we're pretty much just circumventing this kind of like beatnik turned into hippie, turned into punk kind of thing that corporations started, right?
Nope.
So you wouldn't say there were no hippies or beatniks or punks in media?
Didn't ask you about beatniks, hippies, or punks.
What's the nope for?
Huh?
You said nope when I said we're circumventing going around this media that's for kind of like...
No, not the media. Not the media. Not the media. Absolutely not the media.
Okay. So we're just circumventing the establishment that has it?
No. The idea is that technology has grown to a point where you no longer have to go through publishers, you no longer have to go through agents, and you no longer have to go through established unions in order to put your work out there.
Okay. So then that's all that's being circumvented is just the establishment, not the actual media.
The media itself, there's no way to circumvent the media itself.
Yes. So you're just only circumventing the establishment, like...
Well, how would you circumvent media? How do you go around stuff that's media? Media is technically an intangible thing.
Cultural norm of something.
No.
If you have media from America, that's American media. You go around it by not having something that's not American media, like how people go towards anime.
How would you? But that's not a circumvention of American media. Okay, the circumvention is to circumvent something is to have something in your way and you go around it. Japan doesn't have American media in their way. They don't have publishing houses and all that. Again, how do you circumvent media? We're not looking to go around media. There are traditional truths that have been told in media for thousands of years, and we have finally got to the point where you can put them on the silver screen. And now there are specific corporations and specific interests that are barring people of various different ideologies from being able to produce those things. Technology has risen to a point where we can go around those and begin to start telling the stories that have been honestly held for thousands of years.
Okay, so
I mean, the hero's journey isn't dead.
That we see now.
Very much.
Okay, so if I change it to legacy media, which is what I meant, then is that circumvented? So
by legacy media, are you talking about the physical movie that we see on
in charge, Disney, Fox, Universal, stuff like that. That's called legacy media. When you watch the news, they say legacy media is doing this thing. That's legacy media. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's
I know, and I've heard it. I've heard it called that before. Again, the idea here: make sure that you and I agree on what we're talking about, so we can continue forward. Because if we don't agree, and if we really don't hash that out, this just it just devolves into Twitter or X or whatever stupid name Elon's going to name it next month.
That I want to make sure of things. That's why I asked Richard, and then he muted me.
I don't know anything about that conversation.
I know you're not Richard, okay? But I'm saying, if IronAge Media is allergic to definitions, how can it explain itself? So
I have a question. Why are you bringing up IronAge Media here? You're talking with me.
Because
I said in the beginning that no, it was the IronAge, not IronAge Media. The IronAge is a movement, right?
What is
the IronAge is something.
Media?
Huh?
What is IronAge Media?
It's a website. IronAge.media is a website that was started to promote independent creators who happen to believe a specific philosophy.
Something be promoted? So then how can something be promoted if we don't know the definition?
That's what I'm saying to you. You started talking about IronAge.media, which is entirely... You understand that Richard isn't the person who came up with the term or who recognized the movement and just coined a little hashtag, right?
I'm not saying that he is. I'm saying that
so why are you talking about Richard from IronAge.media when I am talking about IronAge, the independent creator movement?
What I was talking to him about. You came.
I don't care about what you were talking to him about. I care about what you were talking to me about. So focus on this conversation.
That was about him.
No, I went on to a thread, and I can pull it up right here because I didn't read the rest of it. So who is that?
Jeff Rose, the guy that you went on the thread of.
So this is where I went on the thread of, right? I have no idea. I read this tweet here and didn't read anything above.
You can scroll up.
Okay. Why?
Because
the rest of that conversation has nothing to do with me. And I just told you we're not here
because the actual subject was about the subject that you came in for specifically was about you because I said my opinion about you. But
so now I'm asking you, so you don't actually understand the difference between a guy who named his website IronAge Media and what the IronAge movement is. Do you understand there's a difference? Because I didn't ask you about IronAge Media. I asked you about the IronAge.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is the IronAge? Do you understand that?
Why is IronAge Media defining it?
IronAge Media didn't define it. He actually quoted someone else. Do you know who?
Someone else.
Razor Fist.
What is Razor Fist's actual definition of traditional publishing?
Why are we talking about traditional publishing? I thought you and I just defined that.
Because the definition of IronAge was to circumvent traditional publishing.
Well, awesome. I'll pull up the YouTube video and we can watch that.
Is it long?
Does it matter?
Kind of. I mean, how long
Why?
do you have?
I could sit here for 2 or 3 hours.
Okay. I mean, I'm just making sure that you have enough time for it.
Dude, I regularly do 2 to 3 hour live streams. You've said you've watched many of my live streams in a tweet, so you know that I do 2 to 3 hour live streams.
They're usually like about an hour, so not really sure about that.
Really?
On YouTube, yeah.
Really? Tell you what,
watch
I'll pull up my channel dashboard. I'll pull up my channel dashboard right now and show that. My live streams are usually about an hour.
like between like an hour, 2 hours. Like I'm not trying to make like a semantic.
No, you're making a positive statement. No, you're making a positive statement.
Okay, fine.
So
if you want to go longer than 2 hours, that's up to you. I'm not here to tell you specifically what to do with your YouTube channel.
Didn't ask you that. I said we can watch the video and where Razorfist says the Iron Age compass. Now there's 2 of them.
Okay.
One was after Eric July did Become the Culture, and then let's see, the Iron Age cometh was where he really defined it. Which one would you like to watch? The one where the term actually kind of got popularized, or the one where he defined it? Probably the one where he defined it.
Yeah, sure. Don't worry. Don't worry about me. Don't ask questions to me. You already got the answer.
That's... Where the fuck is it? Here, I'll do this real quick. I'll present the screen because I'm not sure why it's not showing up.
Oh, no.
Oh, I've watched it many times. All right, go to videos, scroll down. It's a ways back. No, that's a year ago.
So while you're searching, is it okay to ask questions?
Go for it. Yep.
All right, so what does... who are Daniel and Richard to you?
They're my co-hosts on Iron Age Nights. It's the show we do every week to promote independent authors.
I mean, do y'all work together on promotions or what?
What do you mean?
Do you all 3 work together to promote things?
Yeah, for the most part.
Like in an agreement or just like as your own people?
As our own people.
Okay.
There's no legal agreement between... There it is. The Iron Age of Media cometh. Okay, that's why I couldn't find it. Oh, God, I don't have YouTube Premium on this account. Hold on. I don't want people to watch freaking ads. God.
Sponsor break.
Yeah, right? All right, so we'll blow that up. So this is the Iron Age of Media cometh. It is 7 minutes long. There we go. All right. So this is the guy who popularized the term.
Can you hear it? Can you feel it? Can you smell it? No, Seattle viewers, not the unique blend of urinary potpourri. That's the hobo camps. The Iron Age cometh! A seismic eruption of independent creativity that survives and fucking thrives in the total absence of mainstream support or acknowledgement. Well, outside of poorly camouflaged fucking disgust when comic legend and living sunbeam Ethan Van Sciver severed ties with the Big Two and rebooted his creator-owned series Cyberfrog. The acrimony of the mainstream might have overpowered a lesser man. Fortunately for Ethan, the mass hatred of talentless tards happens to be the source of his superpowers. When fellow YouTuber and all-around solid dude Eric July obliterated his original goal for the first run of ISOM #1, Mesozoic media types at Marvel, DC, and of course bleating tool Rich the Bitch Johnston all but belched acid in his general direction. This despite dedicating the past 15 fucking years to celebrating mediocrity squared from their own hand-chosen house tokens at DC and Marvel with sales numbers that read like a fucking soccer score. Johnston authored a particularly autismal treatise that deliberately reported only the number of backers for ISOM #1 rather than the Olympian monetary figure it represented, which at the time was something like 2.25 million. Something I note he never did with the 12.5 copies of Mark Waid's Daredevil that have been sold since 2013. A run he devoted every waking hour since to furiously fucking hand-jiving to. ISOM number 1, by the way, has raised nearly goddamn double that total at present, in case you are curious.
And so obviously referencing the ISOM 1 stuff, this was done last year. So this is
a lot of the explanations already examined. We have non-woke comic being praised. Is that part of the Iron Age?
Non-woke comics?
That's what it said there on the headline. Eric July praised for non-woke comic.
Yeah, that's actually something that Eric has taken exception with. If you've watched his live stream, he's never ever advertised his book as non-woke.
I know. He just sees it as I guess you could say almost like an apolitical kind of thing.
I've read it. I've got both of them over here. There's as far as I can tell right now, there's no politics in them. I've got both of them over here. And
yeah, it's about
I know Fox News tried to say that it was a non-woke or anti-woke comic, and even Eric came out and was like, no, I've never advertised it at that. You won't find the word woke anywhere on my website. So that's actually something that is being weaponized against Eric to try to rally other people, against him, because apparently that term, means something to people. So, but no.
Well, it does mean something.
Yeah, potentially.
Not potentially. I mean, like, there's actually definitions about it, especially thanks to James Lindsay dwindling down to an actual definition.
So, what would that definition be?
Definition for woke, from what I can remember off the top of my head, is something like when media tries to use critical theory, such as critical race theory, queer theory, or feminist theory, to create some kind of diversity or inclusive environment in media, and that's mostly using things like intersectionality and social justice warrior values.
So, and James Lindsay, I've seen him in a lot of stuff too, and James Lindsay's smart enough to actually it all derives from Marx, is where critical theory derives from.
Gnosticism, yeah.
Yeah, well, not Gnosticism. Gnosticism derived from something else, but Marx specifically. Critical theory was derived from him, and then philosophy professors injected postmodernism and decided to change it. And so that's where you end up getting the woke stuff from. It is actually a collection of, like you said, a bunch of different critical theory and mixed with intersectional feminism, and then also interjected with, just a sprinkle of, overthrowing the system that is in place.
Well, you know what intersectionality is about, right?
Yes.
It's about how, like, it's basically like what do you call it? I'm trying not to say Special Olympics. It's oppression Olympics, right? Where the more
what
things
it
you
is,
have that can combine.
No, intersectionality is actually the enhancement of all of the things that you mentioned, a part of critical theory, but basically taking that certain sections of the population and trying to section them out and say how the rest of society has kept those people down, and thusly by keeping those people down, they actually should be given more by society. Again, most of this was done in Marx. Marx popularized the idea, and then radical professors of the 60s and 70s took it into the university systems and the higher educational systems. I believe I've heard it started in law. Well, yeah, because all of them come from that, right?
Yeah.
So you get 30 years of teaching this crap to people, and now look who controls all of the
school. Feminist film theory gets put into the school. Yada yada. You know the deal.
Yep. Okay. So I think you and I are on the same point there.
Yeah.
Okay. And you and I both agree that Eric July has never marketed his book as a non-woke book, right?
He never marketed it as it, but it still gets labeled as such by people who are like kind of using it as a symbol of non-wokeness. And then there's also the other people who use it as a symbol like evil because it's non-woke.
And I highly disagree with anybody running as an anti-something. Mm-hmm. Anybody running as an anti-something, you're not for anything, right?
Yeah.
I don't like people that do that, running as an anti-something. I'm anti this. Okay, well, what are you for? Most people can't answer it. So, and like I said, a lot of people want to put that on Eric. It's not there. I don't like to entertain the conversation because from the creator himself, he said, no, that's not my intention with this. I'm not going that direction. I'm going with what I enjoyed when I grew up as a kid, trying to recreate those things in my comic book and knowing what comic book people enjoy. So as far as the non-woke thing is concerned, that doesn't really enter the conversation as far as Eric July is concerned. Let's get back to the Iron Age
But
cometh.
before you go, I just want to ask, does Razor Fist understand this?
Yeah, I've heard him talk about it many times.
The Iron Age people understand this. The Eric
Yes.
July's comics it's not about non-woke.
Yes, at least the people that I've talked to. At least, I don't know the conversations that you've had, and I don't know if I've had the extensive conversations that you've had, but as far as I know, the people on my channel have understood this because I've talked with them about it.
Because before, I've always heard that this is entertainment without politics. This is what a lot of centrists want to say. Hey, I want entertainment without politics. And then the woke people say, well, everything has politics in it. Even a circle, whatever, you know. So that's why it can easily get, muddled.
No, it only gets muddled if people don't. It only gets muddled for people.
Established structure of what it's supposed to be.
Yes.
Yeah, so there needs to be a structure somewhere for people to stay in this line.
The structure is here in this video.
Okay.
And the structure is this. And actually, you quoted the structure earlier.
The structure that Richard said?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he actually took it from Razor Fist and has had a few conversations with the guy.
Okay, so we had to use Richard's definition. That's also Razor Fist's definition. And then the context is found in Razor Fist.
Context is found in Razor Fist, yes. He's the guy.
Okay.
He's the guy that popularized the term. And in listening to now, you can track down the live streams and stuff like that. But Razor Fist has come out in many live streams when people started asking about this. He says, guys, look, he's like, I just recognized a movement that was already there, and I wanted to come up with like a name that I thought was cool sounding for He's like, we would call it the Iron Age because we hammer it out, right? A bunch of independent creators.
It's not retrospective. What's that word when you name something after the fact of it?
I have no. I don't. I
look in the
think
chat.
I know.
Audience help.
Okay.
What's that word when
no,
somebody names something, coins a term after the fact of it?
Well, yeah, it's because a lot of people were actually recognizing this movement prior to, but it really, really, really didn't start to pick up, and it was something that, again, a lot of people started to recognize. So, can we agree on what the Iron Age is and understand that the idea of the Iron Age is not Iron Age media?
No, I understand that.
Okay.
I understand the Iron Age media is a messenger. You're a messenger. You're a promoter. I guess you can say Daniel's also a promoter. You guys are promoting people.
Daniel does help promote, but his primary goal is to work with people by editing and offering authoring advice and whatnot. He offers his services to people to help them write. He does edits for them. He's actually helped edit quite a few people in the chat. For their books and things like that at quite a discounted price to help them get their books off the ground, because even he's like, man, some of the prices that people charge for simple editing a book is ridiculous. And, so he's doing his best.
Right?
So that's his primary focus. So.
Okay. So just for that little point, would you say that, because I don't know how much of a percentage you guys handle of the Iron Age hashtag. What would you say? Like 60%, 40, 30?
0.
Not like you're in charge of it. Just like how much your sphere of influence is.
I'm not even going to pretend to guess that.
Well, you can guess,
Why?
Look at the hashtags on.
Why?
I mean, just to see how much progress you're making.
Well, I can see the progress that I'm making by the number of people that join my chat every week and by the channel growth on my channel. That doesn't
but what's
mean
the maximum number of Iron Age?
Dude, compared to probably Razor Fist, YouTube, and the Friday Night Tights guys, who all of those guys use it, I'm probably 0.5%, maybe.
Okay.
If I had to guess. I am a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of what the people who have actually popularized the term and who are actually getting people enthusiastic about independent creations and getting away from the corporate media. Yeah, I'm nowhere close to the maximum.
Okay, so all the authors that someone like Daniel handles, it's like an incredibly low fraction.
Of course, we're in a niche of a
Iron Age
niche.
thing.
Yeah, we're in a niche of a niche.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on.
We've defined the Iron Age. So now I got tagged into that, and what exactly is the issue? I heard you've used the word psyop a few times. You use the word corporate shill. All of that for people who are trying to work on building up their own creations and building up other people. Why use those words in regards to this?
I'll give me a second to drink some water.
Hey, look at that beer.
For the audience who don't know, I'm in California, and it's goddamn scorching. So
we've got some people down in the chat that are also in California, so I'm sure that they...
Oh, you poor bastards. So
yeah,
corporate shill is when you are trying to make money for corporations or reduce money for people who go against corporations. Indie is the biggest threat to corporations because when you're indie, you can't be controlled by an overarching structure.
So you go after people who are trying to promote indie authors and call us corporate shills?
Not at all. The problem is that when you are acting in a psyop, you are trying to psychologically trick people into doing things that go against them, against their better abilities.
Okay, and what evidence do you have that people in, I guess, the Iron Age movement or people who are enthusiastic about this are acting in a psyop?
Zero, which is why I say I hope you're not a corporate shill.
So then why put that out there and why go at people as if they are?
It's not that I go after them as if they are. It's that I'm so used to seeing these things happening. Like, for example, if you go to Reddit and you see R writing, a lot of times people are trying to talk about sensitivity readers as if that means anything. And they want to sell this to indie writers. Sensitivity readers are the exact reason why we have this corporate nonsense that we have right now. This woke nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And people are trying to say indie writers must follow this woke nonsense in order to make money. You can do something similar without being exactly a sensitivity reader. You can do something similar like do whatever you want or do whatever you think is best for you. And that's another way to psyop somebody into doing what's worse for them.
So by telling somebody to do their thing and make it the best that they can, that's a psyop against...
Not the best they can. It's what you think is best for you.
Yeah, no, I don't know people who say that. Never do
Brandon
what
Sanderson says, do what you think is best for you.
Well, the guy sounds like a moron to me. I've heard his name a lot, but if he's going to say do what you think is best for you, no.
Congratulations. You realize the psyop.
What psyop is that exactly?
You agree that that's a dumb thing to say, right?
Yes, okay, so Brandon Sanderson is in the Iron Age?
No, he is a person who everybody is practically worshipping at this point because he started off making whatever he wanted, and then he got really big, and then everybody uses him as an influence, right?
Okay.
So when he says things in his classes, and one of them is do what you think is best for you, as one of his most predominant messages, that causes people to enter their head as a sort of sophist.
So, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that Brandon Sanderson is actually pushed forth by one of the most major publishers in America. So
he's technically considered indie now because he had a, what was that called? A Kickstarter, I think?
So he's not represented by a publisher anymore?
Not quite. I think he's starting his own company. Similar to how Eric was with a company, and then now he's like indie. You know what I mean?
Eric wasn't ever with a company.
He was technically with The Blaze, and then...
No, he was never been with The Blaze.
That's why I say technically?
No, not technically. He is considered a contributor.
That's why I say technically, because it's a contributor.
No, he is not with The Blaze. He's not hired on by them, and he is not paid by them to say the opinions that they want him to say. They said, come on the show. No, that's not where the technically comes in. That's where they say, hey, we're going to invite you on as a regular guest, and we're going to pay you money to be a regular guest.
Okay. If I'm saying that's what I mean, are you going to accept that or not really?
No, I want to make sure that we're agreeing on the definitions.
Yeah, I just don't want you to be like, oh, that's not what technically means when, you know, that's
no, because you're saying technically he worked for The Blaze, and no, he never has. He has been maybe a contractor, but he's not worked for The Blaze. He's been a contractor, which means he works for himself
Contractor
and
for.
accepts a contract from other
Yeah.
companies. But no, he's never. So Eric, and so you said earlier, kind of like what Eric did is he worked for another company and then when he indie, that's not the case at all.
I'm just saying it's similar.
Not really. One's a
Not
contractor,
exact.
and one was a contractor, and one was pushed forth by major publishing companies in
Okay, so you think
America.
that Brandon Sanderson is some kind of like anti-indie person that we had to circumvent?
No.
Then I don't know what the pushback is all about.
No, you said that there were similarities that Eric worked with one company and he didn't. And you were saying, oh, well, Brandon Sanderson worked with a company and then went indie. And you said, well, Eric July worked with a company and went indie. They didn't. Eric July didn't work with a company. He is his own LLC that contracted out, whereas Brandon Sanderson was published by a company. And once he amassed a certain amount of money, decided to then do his own thing, which is probably smart on his part. They're two very different forms of business.
Sure, why not? So I actually forgot what I was trying to say.
So we were talking about, I mentioned that, okay, so apparently you would say Brandon, because you started bringing up Brandon Sanderson and how a lot of people are worshiping this. So
Thank you.
Brandon Sanderson's IronAge, well, that doesn't make any sense. He's definitely from the traditional mainstream, sources. And as we've defined IronAge is people trying to write their own stories, not using the traditional means, or what we would call traditional publishing, or the old guard, as it were.
No, the thing that I'm worried about is that there's too many sophists among the Iron Age that are in their own head, doing some kind of circular running gag, hoping people buy their art, and then people don't buy it because it's their head, not other people's. They're not there for the audience. They're not really there for the market. They're there to show off in their own personal way.
Well, I mean, that would mean that they're there for the audience.
No, it's not. It's there for you to kind of like brag about yourself to yourself.
Well, yeah, I mean, welcome to the modern day internet, and that's why you kind of weed those people out as an individual.
How do we weed them out as an individual?
For instance, if I feel that there's somebody that I shouldn't have on my channel, I don't have them on my channel. If there's somebody that I feel that I don't promote as an individual, I don't promote them. I'm an individual. I make that call. What do you mean? You've never taken anybody out of your life as an individual because you felt that they just weren't good for your life?
No, I'm asking how you do it. I know how I do things. I just don't know how you do things.
I make that judgment call depending on the situation.
Okay,
And it
so
depends
on how do you say that? Conditional.
Well, yeah. I mean, are we talking about me and my brother, who every time we get into a room with each other, we start to argue because my brother and I don't see eye to eye? Do I cut my brother out? No, still love my brother to death, and he and I have good conversations, but we do get into it sometimes. Now, would I extend that same courtesy to somebody on the internet as my brother? Absolutely not. You're not family. Again, it's conditional.
That, but there's no actual like tie that you need to care about.
No. So exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's conditional. Yeah. You weed people. So when you ask the question, how would you do that as an individual? Why ask that question?
Because I want to know how you do it. People do things differently. I don't know what your aesthetics are, your philosophy.
By the word of individual. That's what I meant.
About.
That's what I meant by the word individual. You do it as an individual. So you understand everybody does things differently. Yeah. So when I say you do it as an individual and you say, well, what do you mean by that? No, you already understood that everybody does things.
Individual.
Okay, so you wanted to focus it on me at that point in time.
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I think I need to make a more emphasis on my use, huh?
Potentially. I mean, it's internet conversation, and we do have the barrier of StreamYard and cameras, and I mean, you're not on camera, which I don't blame you for. Hard to read facial expressions, so that we do have to accept the reality that we are doing this over the internet, right?
Yep.
Okay. So one of the questions that I have for you is, why call me Gen X?
Oh, because Gen X is a little bit different than millennial. Millennials are why we had this woke nonsense in the first place. But Gen Xers are more of that punk aesthetic, kind of like Razor Fist, where they want to have this do-it-yourself thing. They want to have libertarian, but I call it more like low libertarian now. And there are also anarchists in there, here and there. And it's more about trying to be independent, but you also kind of get stuck in your own nonsense. You become a sophist very quickly.
So
Secular.
when you say that I'm the same Gen X nonsense, you're not actually saying that I'm a Gen Xer?
No, I'm not telling you that you're old. You actually look very young, so don't worry about that. No gray hairs yet, right?
No. I mean, if
Maybe
I
on
follow
the somewhere.
if I follow the family genetics, I probably won't have gray hair till I'm in my mid 50s.
God
Neither
damn,
my grand
you got like
Yeah, neither-
really blessed by genetics, huh?
Yeah, neither my dad, he didn't start to gray up until he was in his mid 50s. My grandfather didn't. My mom's father didn't. And then I think my grandmother on my mother's side, she had pitch black hair until she was in almost her 60s. So, okay. So, you use the word Gen X,
Yep.
okay? And apparently I'm afraid to be a leader, which
Yep.
my job in life isn't to be a leader. I've actually talked about this many, many, many times on my channel.
Yeah.
And I've talked about the negatives of what not to do or complete avoidance. Do you have a clip of me talking about that stuff?
Well, you showed me the clip where you're talking about the nudity that's in a lot of indie works. And when I watched the video again, it seems like you didn't want to actually make a definitive case. You just said, should we do it or shan't we? And you wanted
Really?
the audience to determine it for you.
Really? Let's watch.
mean-
Let's pull that one up.
But here's the thing. I don't really mind if you want to change your decision on it. You can always change
No,
your
it's not
decision
about
on
changing my
anything.
decision. It's not about changing my decision at all. I have no
Or you
need
can
to
just
change
clarify me right here.
So no, I have no need to change the decision at all.
I mean, if it never
And-
changed, then you can just clarify
Okay, so
right
what?
here.
So what
Like,
was? So what was the
I'm not going to
point
hold
of
you
the
against
video?
your passwords.
Oh no, I hold myself against a lot of that stuff. Not to say that I don't change, but that video was only a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
So what-
it's a very recent thing, but you can still change your mind.
So
we can always change your
you
mind.
didn't see the thing where I said, "Look, I don't care if you guys want to do the nudie stuff, but
There you
if
go.
we don't start making the billboard something other than that, parents who are seeing the gnarly stuff are going to equate us to the books that they're pulling out of their kids' hands." You didn't see that part of the video?
Well, that's the part I'm talking about, because I guess you see it as
We're-
telling people what to do, but
No, I told people that we need to start redirecting the focus and we need to start putting things out there that are for a wider audience. How is that not telling? How
okay,
is
so
that
we
not
need
telling
to have
people?
a wider audience?
Yeah, we need to have kids, adults, everything. I mean, my kids can read Lord of the Rings. My kids
I
can
mean, you
read
can just keep
King
it as,
Arthur.
like, we need to have a wider audience, right?
No, because the idea isn't necessarily a wider audience. It's an all ages audience, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, so many people have, and I even said that in the tweet that I sent to you. Now, you said that this entire video in your tweet, and one of the things that I hold was about Puritanism, and I have never advocated for Puritanism ever.
Okay, so you're fine with nudity, even if it's something like 100% of media?
What do you mean 100% of the medium?
I mean, like, if it's 100% of media, just all nudity, you'd be fine with that?
Would I put it in front of my kids? No, I wouldn't.
Not about in front of your kids. Like, would you just be fine that that's the life you live? Would you be okay?
I want media. My fight here on this channel, and I've said this many times, is the culture is obviously in disarray. And I understand that, just like the left understands, if you want to actually change the culture, you actually have to affect the children that are around today. So my question is to you, are you willing to have stories that you can put in front of children?
Of course. I just don't know
Okay.
what the value is in indie doing that. Unless indie is like a big children thing. Like, what percentage of children are into
So
indie?
I'm sorry. So are you saying
book.
that nobody in the indie sphere could write something that could be as great as the Lord of the Rings for all ages? Are you saying that the
if
indie
we
sphere
don't
doesn't have that?
If we don't have clear aesthetics like Tolkien did, it's impossible. We're going to be stuck in spectacle upon spectacle.
So out of
We're
the
gonna be stuck in
millions
this
of
postmodern
people, so out of
nonsense.
the millions of people out there, there's nobody out there
If
that
somebody
could
has
understand
aesthetic
a story.
if somebody has aesthetics that actually work, same like Tolkien or any other old modernist kind of person, I say, yeah, that's possible. But who is actually doing that?
Don't know. I haven't met him yet, but I would like to. And that's why I've engaged my channel in the way that I have.
It's kind of like...
So back to the question, why did you give me an all or nothing ultimatum there? As in, it has to be all nudity or not all nudity.
Because that's the extreme you start off with. To then
Why
see
would
where
you
your
deal
middle
in
ground
extremes? Why would you deal in extremes?
To see your middle ground.
Huh?
To see the
I
middle
want
ground
stories that
in.
I can read, that I enjoy, that I can also have my children enjoy, because I understand, my children being old enough, there is a potential I could be a grandfather within 10 years. Right? That's just the world we live in. But I want my children to be able to have something that they can pass on. The idea of this is to take time-tested truths that you pass on to the future. And I just don't think having 100% of media with titties and vag in it accomplishes that goal. Right?
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that it is.
Okay, so why work in the extremes then?
What your position is. I'm trying to see like where your middle ground is.
What middle ground?
The middle ground between all nudity and no nudity.
I think if you're over the age of 18 or over the age of whatever the hell people decide, I don't know, go for it. If you're considered an adult, go for it. Watch whatever you want, do the things that you want to do.
That's what I don't get. You went from, we had to do X, and now you're saying, okay, do whatever you want.
I never said that.
You keep saying go for it, but only for specific things.
Interesting. Specific things. What specific things?
You're saying if you're 18 or whatever age is allowed for this nudity thing, go for it. Where does it go for it?
So I said I wanted time-tested truths that people can write down into stories so that I can read and enjoy, and then give it to my children so I can pass on these time-tested truths to the next generation, right? That's why I'm an advocate for physical media. Okay. No, you're not erasing it, that one. But what you are focusing on is the fact that I said, dude, if you're 18 and that's the thing you want to watch, go for it. Guess what? I'm not 18. I'm 31. I've got 4 kids.
Is that a libertarian or an authoritarian kind of mentality? But that specific...
That's a me standpoint. Am I saying that we need to codify this into law? No.
Not about law.
No, because that's the point. Libertarians and authoritarian work in law that is passed by the government. That's what those two things are.
So religion has nothing to do with authoritarian.
Well, of course religion can have something to do. How the hell does that come into this conversation in any way, shape, or form?
Why do you think religion is a law? It's a natural law beyond government, right?
No, natural law comes from God. Religion is a bastardization of the words that he said.
No, I'm saying like religion has a natural law. And that's beyond government.
No, religion has a man-made law crafted around the natural law that God set forth.
Okay, so it's not with government.
Did I say anything about authoritarian? I said, if you are over the age of 18 and you want to go out and look at some stuff, go for it. I'm not going to codify that into law. What I am not going to do is I am not going to take certain things and put them in front of my children. And what I am on the search for is for stories that can be carried on into future generations and hopefully my grandchildren. How did you jump from that into law, into legal passages that are written down on a piece of paper that can be used against political enemies? How did you make that leap?
Well,
I don't understand.
Are using laws, right? Aren't they?
So me saying that I
using laws.
How does the woke play into the conversation we just had?
They have their quote unquote religious beliefs, more like cultural beliefs.
Awesome.
And they try to use laws in order to enforce them.
Okay. How does that play into the conversation where I love how you actually changed the conversation and you completely deflected. Because
no, I'm saying that it can involve law if you want it to involve law.
I never said law.
If you want it to.
No. Why would you constrain authors with law? Isn't that what the Third Reich did?
That's why I'm asking you if you are part of that.
Why would I be part of that? You've never watched my channel. If you think that I would be part of... No, you haven't. There's no way. You've never seen my channel and me talk about my absolute disdain. So just so you know, I tell people this. I hate the government so much, I don't even put my kids in their schools. We have 4 kids that have been homeschooled for 6 years.
Great. I like that.
Okay? So, if you are being honest and you saw my channel, you've barely ever watched it. And you're coming out with positive claims about me. What's up?
Have you talked about being authoritarian or libertarian?
Why?
I don't know.
What's the point?
You're saying that this is something that you've discussed, but apparently you didn't.
What do you mean I haven't discussed?
You haven't discussed if you're authoritarian or libertarian.
You said you've watched my channel extensively. In the tweet that you did earlier today, you already have the answer to that question. If you've actually watched my channel. I have a strong feeling that you haven't.
You just said you don't talk about this.
No, I talk about it all the time. My Sunday coffee streams, I've talked about all of this stuff all the time. Talked about my beliefs.
You talked about being libertarian?
Oh, I'm not a libertarian.
And you're not authoritarian?
There's a very, very big difference there.
Well, what's the difference then?
Why are those the only 2 things that you mention?
So what's the middle position, the third position you're going for?
Actually, if you've paid attention to my streams, you would know that I would consider myself a believer of the federalist system. So I would be a federalist.
So
if you've watched my streams, you would have heard me say that. Yeah.
So the federal system is why public schools suck, but you don't want them in the public school?
You actually don't know what federalism is?
I mean, it's state, but the federal system is making it suck.
No, not the federal system. Federalism. Are you telling me you don't know what federalism is?
Yeah, when the overall country is in charge.
No.
State. Okay, then enlighten me.
Go read the Federalist Papers and what the Founding Fathers established.
Yeah. A federal government.
No.
There's no federal government in the United States?
Dude, you need to go read the Federalist Papers and you need to actually educate yourselves on what the Founding Fathers established.
You're trying to tell me there's no federal anything in America. What do you mean?
I never said that at all. I asked you if you knew what federalism is.
Okay, instead of telling me
what is federalism,
tell me what you are saying.
No. What is federalism? Okay. What is federalism? You can use Google.
It's not whatever you believe in.
What is federalism?
Federalism is when the overarching government also has states under it.
Nope.
Okay, that's not it. What is it then? I'm wrong, you're right. Go ahead and tell me what's right. Googling.
Yeah. We're going to pull up the definitions. Why would I not pull up the definitions?
I didn't say you're not supposed to. I'm just saying Googling.
Well, yeah, I even told you to Google it. All right. And share the screen. Okay, the federal principle or system, the principle of Federalist Party, federalism. Oh, God, you're not going to.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah. I hate when Google did that, dude.
Compound mode.
Yeah, let's see if. Okay. All right, federalism.
Negotiation in some form. Members can share in making and executing decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like when there's like a bunch of states and they all vote for something.
Or when there are a bunch of states that actually believe in individual states' rights that simply use the 4 things that the Founding Fathers set up.
Like Confederacy.
No.
Oh, there's the Confederate Papers as well.
Yeah, I know. I've read them. I've actually read the Articles of Confederacy too. Why did God? Fuck! I hit the wrong button. Damn it! Sorry.
That's okay. I got boomer fingers too.
Dude, it's a curse. I swear. It's like if you're older than 25, you get boomerisms. Let's see. How do they not? I don't understand why dictionary.com does this crap. Advocacy of a federal system. It's not the advocacy of a federal system. All right, let's just go up here to Britannica. That was the closest definition that there was.
Large and
Essentially,
small political units each have important but separate powers. Some powers are shared between the larger and the smaller political units. Is that
yes.
kind of close?
Yeah, that's pretty good, actually. Would you mind sharing that for me? What website is that from?
Federal versus confederal government, and look for images.
I was going to say, you can hit the present button on bottom and I'll share that. No, but it's essentially the federalist system is a bunch of individual states that came together that said they will contribute to the monetary system. They will contribute to foreign policy. They will contribute to the overall military, but overall they will run themselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think the federal government is doing good or bad right now?
Oh, they're fucking terrible, and they've been terrible for the last, 120 years?
Okay.
Well,
so then,
beyond that, actually. I mean,
you're
I always go
for
back to Woodrow Wilson, but there was corruption prior to Woodrow Wilson, so...
So you're kind of for a federal that's almost around before the Civil War, would you say?
I would say before the War of 1812.
Okay, yeah.
In the War of 1812, they took a lot of power at that time. I would rather have states.
We'll rise again before you took our firearms. That kind of era.
Do what?
Like the quote, like 1776 kind of era, right?
No, 1776 was a tumultuous time across the globe.
I'm just trying to make like a century worth of period.
So let's get back into this. So because we've gotten into a little bit of the weeds. Although I don't mind getting into weeds like that. So
this one was good because I get to know more about you and how you think. That's kind of the point.
And you said that you have watched my channel on Twitter, in which I have expressed a lot of these views in multiple hours. Okay. And this is why I say that I don't.
Hours, or just like far in the past, or
within the last year.
Constant, because it's almost like an impossible standard you're making here, where you want me to watch everything you've done.
No. It is not an impossible standard in any way.
Because if I miss something, you're like, hey, then I watched that one thing.
Okay, you said I've watched tons of your live streams.
Yeah.
And it's always the same generic you do you boo, which is actually contrary to everything I believe.
Okay, so
I've never said you do you
kind of person instead.
No, what I'm saying is, why would you say you've watched tons of my live streams? And yet you're asking the questions that you're asking. You're outing yourself right now as somebody who's not done the thing that you've said you've done.
I'm fine with that.
I mean, but that's what I'm saying. You said, well, I'm just trying to learn about you. But you said tons, okay? Tons means a lot, like quite a bit. Now, was it one or two? Okay, I'd give you an out there. A couple of live streams? I'll give you an out there. You use the word tons of live streams to mischaracterize me. I don't.
I'm not sure it has a mischaracterization, though.
Really? For the you do you? You've watched tons of live streams, and it's always the same generic you do you, boo.
So then where is the more like telling people what to do thing from your live streams? Because you pointed to your video about nudity. Is that a
the video wasn't about nudity. You didn't watch that video either. The video wasn't about nudity.
The video about having nudity in indie comics and books, that wasn't about nudity?
No. That video was saying that if we want this to succeed, we have to understand there's being pornographic material pushed in the public school systems. And if we are pushing material like that or making it the billboard of the IronAge movement or the indie creators, and that's what comes across the table for people first, do we really think that they're going to take that into their home and give it to their kids? The video wasn't about nudity. The video was about how best we tell timeless stories and asking people to start writing those timeless stories. I can play the video if you would like.
Something like it was about the difference between sexy and sexual, right?
That's something I get from Dojo Kun Comics.
Yeah.
There is a difference between sexy and sexual. Absolutely.
There is a difference.
Absolutely, there is a difference between sexy
is
and
an aesthetic towards beauty, and then sexual is more like hedonism and even downright Satanism.
Agreed. Okay, so in the lives, I've watched tons of your live streams. You do you, boo. my Sunday coffee live streams. So what live stream have I said that in? You made the positive claim here. What live stream did I say that in?
I put those in quotes, but I'm saying that that's like the quote that is memed. Like when people say "you do you boo" on Instagram or
but I don't
TikTok
say that
or whatever.
I tell
Not that
people
you said it.
You said this on Twitter. I've
saying
watched
this is
tons
the
of your live
same-
streams.
Okay, the quote is not from you directly. The quote is the meme to show.
You said I've watched tons of your live streams.
series
It's
of
always
words
the same
together.
generic. You do you boo. Avoidance of aid with tiny niche tips and tricks.
Yeah, you do tips and tricks, don't you?
No, I've never done tips and tricks.
So you don't.
I've come at this as a nerd who is like, look, I want good content again, and I give my opinions. I don't give tips and tricks as a right. I'm not an author.
I'm not saying
Where
you're
are
an
you
author.
getting this from? Point out the live streams that you have seen where I have done this.
Okay, so what do you do that's not a tips and tricks? Like, are you not giving any tips or are you not giving any tricks? Or is it both?
No.
You don't say any trick.
I'm telling people what I'd like to see.
Do it this way.
No,
Hey, it'd be
not
better
at
if you do it
all.
that way.
I have never done that.
You can get a better result from this kind of
Find
thing.
me. I've never done that. Find me the video where I've done that.
So
I've
what
never
is
done it.
your- What is your way of assisting people then? How do you
My
aid?
way, I host a live stream every single Friday night with independent authors and creators and allow them to share that. And then on top of that, I do a post every single Wednesday on Twitter where I allow people to share their stuff. And then we go through and I make sure that I can shout out a lot of people. And we give honest feedback from the perspective of fans of, hey, this is what we think about this in the Wednesday live streams. How do you say you've watched tons of my live streams and apparently I give tips and tricks all the times and it's a you do you boo? You just outed yourself as a liar.
That's okay.
That's not okay. It's not okay to lie.
I mean, for something
As somebody
tiny like
who
that,
claims,
sure.
as someone who claims to be looking for a higher standard in writing, like you did on Twitter in this post, how can you sit here and say that I've done any of that when I have never done it? And then
Here's the
claim
thing.
that you've watched my channel.
You keep forgetting. I want to be wrong so that you're not a corporate shill.
No, you don't want to be wrong. You put that in
Sure I
there
do.
so that way you had an out.
No, I want to be wrong so that you're not a corporate shill. I want
Why
you to be
claim
the
to
best
watch
person
my
you can.
channel and have the knowledge of that when that's never happened on my channel and you can't provide any evidence? I would have, if I would have been saying that, dude, I would have had the clips from the channel.
That's okay.
So you're saying that you're okay making statements that you cannot back up.
When it's on Twitter, of course.
Wow.
Am I supposed to take Twitter seriously?
No, you should take your word seriously and you should speak your word everywhere.
Okay.
You think just you think it's okay to just use words to demagogue people like that?
What was
To
demagogue?
degrade people like that?
How are you degraded?
You said I offer tips and tricks and I do a you do you attitude.
Is that
That's-
degrading?
Of course it is, because that's a complete mischaracterization of what I'm doing. That is a
So it's not
degradation
like
of
it's a
what I
wrong
do on this
thing to
channel.
do. It's just something that you don't
It is
do
a wrong thing to
personally.
do because it's a lie. Lying is wrong.
No, your idea.
No,
of the
lying
you do
is
you-
wrong. Lying is wrong.
I'm
I
not
don't
talking
say
about
you
that
do
one.
you. Yeah, I'm talking about this one.
Okay, I'm talking
Lying is
about-
wrong.
Okay, whatever. So I'm
Why
talking about
lie?
you do you. Because it's Twitter.
So it's okay to lie on Twitter.
Yes, because
o-
you have such a small amount of words you can use, and so you just simplify everything.
No, you figure out how to be more concise with your language. So you just said it's okay to lie about people and put yourself
On Twitter,
out there
yeah.
for libel in even the shitty legal system that we have.
Okay, sue me.
So you don't believe And libel actually constitutes a lot more. You didn't do any damage to my reputation in this. I didn't take any monetary thing, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, that's not
Libel's
libel.
a lot more. What I'm saying, if you believe that it's okay to lie on Twitter,
Yeah.
what happens when you do that to somebody who does decide to take you to court because you do that? So you think it's okay to lie about people in certain instances?
On Twitter, yeah.
Yeah, so in certain instances. Yes, the answer is yes.
Yeah, when it makes them reveal themselves, sure.
How did I reveal myself?
Well, now we know what you're all about, right?
Well, you said
This
you
was so
watched
you
tons
can
of my.
explain
You said you
yourself,
watched
right?
tons of my live streams. You should have already known that. You used the word tons.
Determine this is a lie. So instead of going back to that, you can go forward and you can say, yes, I have explained who I am now.
I didn't need to do that here. I've
You
already
said that
done
was the
that.
point of this.
No, the point of this was to go into this conversation
Uh-huh.
and point out the things that you had said
Uh-huh.
that were incorrect.
Okay, so apparently I libeled myself by saying I watched tons of your live streams. And then you said I didn't do that, so I'm libeling myself?
No, you technically libeled me.
How do I libel you when I say I watched tons of your live streams? That's a lie towards me, not you.
No. It's always the same generic you do you avoidance with tiny niche tips and tricks. It's the
Okay.
whole sentence. You understand how sentence structure works, right? You take the whole
Yeah.
sentence. Yeah, okay. So now that you said, well, you give tips and tricks, don't you? No, I never have. One.
Okay, so you don't give
and
any
two,
tips.
I
You don't
do
give any
not believe in you do you, boo. I believe that you should do better every single day because that is what we are here to do. And I have said that many times.
Okay, and then how do we do better?
Honestly, that depends. Are you a drug addict? Probably try not to do drugs the next day. Are you somebody who's an alcoholic? Try not to do that the next day. Are you somebody who gets angry easily? You see, there's a notion of individual here. Every individual has to find those things in their life that they do better at every single day and make sure that those things are the things that they chip away until they are the metaphorical, perfect statue that they could eventually be, which perfectionism is completely out of our grasp. But we should always strive for it.
Okay, so you want movement towards perfectionism, movement towards form. What is this form?
No. I want people to move towards being the best versions of themselves that they can. And the
form.
problem is with that is an individual thing to everyone. That's
Okay,
why
so then-
sometimes you have to speak in semi-generic terms to get it across. But the idea of being happy with who you are today should never be something that people are comfortable with. You should never
absolutely not.
do that. So I have a question. Again, why say this stuff? Why say this stuff about me?
Because that's the appearance that you show off. To me, at least. Individually.
Okay. Why not say that?
Because there's not enough space for that.
I'm looking at this
Trust me, I
tweet right
tried.
here. I'm looking at this tweet right here. You literally could have added more. I've literally typed more than that on Twitter.
Okay.
You literally could have put that in there. That tweet's not that long.
Check it.
But again, you said it's okay to lie on Twitter because of the space that we have, which means that you're not being genuine. And I honestly, if you're okay with lying about people, you're going to do more damage to the indie movement that you claim to support than you do good for. People can sniff out liars all the time.
Okay, if you sniff that out as a lie, but then you don't sniff out other things, is that
Well-
like a problem for me or them?
What do you mean?
How do you sniff out a lie if people do not believe in truth?
What do you mean? How do you sniff out a lie if people don't believe in the truth? The obvious fact here is I've
Is there
never
a
offered...
truth to art?
Huh?
Is there a
Art-
truth? Objectivity
Absolutely
to
not.
art?
Nope. There's no truth to art.
Can you lie about art?
Can you lie about art?
Yes. Can you say something that's not
You can
true
go
about art?
you can go against a popular opinion or somebody else's opinion in art. Now, are your intentions malicious or are they in good faith? You can
in this
ask
particular
somebody
tweet
about
or
their
in general?
intentions.
Are you saying about this?
You said
particular
art.
tweet or in
You said
general?
artwork. You said artwork. That's what we're talking about right now. Artwork.
Okay, so if I have a malicious or virtuous intention for artwork, can I lie or tell the truth? Is that the question?
That's something that you're making up completely.
Okay, then
I
just say
never
it
asked
again.
anything like that. I never asked anything like that.
Then ask the question again.
I didn't ask the question. You're the one who asked the question about lying about artwork.
So
I
you
said-
didn't ask a question.
A person's no, I answered. I said a person's intention. You can go at the artwork. You can agree or disagree. But a person's intention, whether it be malicious or in good faith, is entirely
So you believe
different.
intention is objective.
no.
So it can be lied about. You can lie about your own intention to yourself.
No.
So then what causes it to be a truth?
Truth is word, action, or spiritual movement in the opposite direction of malice and deceit. So, if you are moving in the opposite direction of malice and deceit,
How do you determine malice or deceit?
well, let's go to the definitions.
Because it
I
seems
like
like you're trying to make an ought out of an is, or an is out of an ought.
No, malice and deceit. We're talking about that. We're not talking about other words.
That's Hume's guillotine to explain that you can't really get a subjective out of objective and the other way around.
Yeah, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about malice, the intention or desire to do evil or ill will. Okay.
All right, is there an objective will, an objective evil, or are they subjective?
There we go. Deceit, the action or practice of deceiving someone by concealing or misrepresenting the truth. Okay. So if you are deceiving, concealing, or misrepresenting, and we'll just say fact here. Okay. Because most people get fact. Okay. If you're doing any of those things, you are moving in the opposite direction of truth.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So what would a lie be?
Well, it's the opposite of truth.
No, a lie would be taking something and misrepresenting it to other people, right? That means that you as a person are moving in the opposite direction of truth. You see, truth is God.
Okay, so is
So if
there
you're
a
moving in the-
true lie, or a lie that is true?
There are lies that are factual. Don't misinterpret truth and fact.
I didn't say anything about fact. I said, is there a lie that is true, or a truth that's a lie?
You are trying to use true in the term of the colloquial fact. Most
Is there a
people make that
truth
mistake.
That is a lie, or a lie that's a truth?
There are facts. Again, truth is God. God is not a lie. I just said that.
Is there a truth that can be a lie, or a lie that can be a truth?
God isn't a lie. Why do you keep saying that? I just told you the difference between fact. Fact
Well,
are
it's a
pieces
simple
of
yes or no
evidence.
question.
Fact are pieces of evidence that are in front of us.
All right, so
God
is that a yes
is
or a
truth.
No? Is it a yes
No,
or a no?
no. There is no yes or no because your premise sucks. Your premise isn't a premise. You're setting up a bait question intentionally. Okay.
How's it bait?
You
already
said
explained what a lie is.
Can a truth be a lie? And I said only God is the truth.
Okay. So when
And
you
I said
explain-
what you're talking about is fact. You can put evidence out there that is factual while withholding things, and that factual evidence can be a lie. Yes, but God cannot be a lie.
Okay,
I
so then is a
reject your
fact-
premise on its whole.
That's fine. So is a fact an objective or a subjective?
It is what can be proven.
Is it objective or subjective?
It would be objective because it is proven. It is in front of you. It is
Is
something
there a
that
false positive?
Are we talking about the COVID vaccine or
Anything. Is there a proven that is false?
what do you mean? Is there a proven that is false?
You say proven, so that means some kind of test, some kind of thing like logic, empirical data, maybe.
Okay, so I pulled up tweets of yours earlier.
Maybe perspective.
I pulled up tweets of yours earlier. Would you consider that factual evidence?
Well, I can consider that a subjective thing based off of perspective, maybe even empirical data. But
so you wouldn't consider that factual evidence. You wouldn't consider that you posted this, which is a fact. Here's what you said. Here's the context of the conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then what were my intentions?
That's what I asked you.
Okay, so you don't know the intention. You said the intention's important. You have the result of the intention, but the intention's a mystery to you. Is the intention true? Is it a objective or subjective?
Post a link to where you say such. You people can't stick to anything you say, just want to be heuristic.
Yep.
I've watched tons of your live streams, and it's always the same generic you do you avoidance of aid with tiny niche tips and tricks.
Yep.
Okay. So, well, one, the entire reason you're on Twitter, you said it's okay to lie on Twitter. You're there to just ruffle people's feathers. It's
partially.
I've been actually scrolling through your tweets today to get a feel for you, just to see. You go through, you ruffle a lot of people's feathers. And actually, believe it or not, there's a lot of people that you and I follow that I've agreed with some of your tweets. Right? I'm like, yeah, all right, that's a good take. This one here, you saying that, it is to discredit me. 100%. And you've
not a
used
liable way.
Huh?
It's just not a liable way.
No, not legally. You can't. No, because there's no. It didn't harm it. It didn't harm my.
You don't lose a sub or anything.
No, I mean, fuck, we lose subs all the time because YouTube does that. And, YouTube will take, dude. YouTube will take, YouTube will take subs because you went upstairs and took a pee. Like you get it. Like you've got a channel. I checked out the channel. Like you've got the channel. Like you understand when you see it go up and down. You're like, what the? I didn't even do anything. So yeah. No, but you didn't damage my reputation. But like I said, you get back into this. Why say this? And then tonight you're like, oh, well, I learned more about you. It's like, but you stated that you've watched tons of stuff. And then you didn't push back on any, when I called you a liar, you didn't push back on that? Why?
I don't really care when people call me a liar because that's their perspective.
No, it's not my perspective. I'm asking you for empirical evidence to provide to myself and everybody here and some people who are in the chat who you've also gone after to prove your statement. Do you not care about proving your statements to anyone?
I don't have to really prove myself to anybody. I prove myself to myself towards a truth that I can see objectively.
So you're a spiritual woo-woo guy. My father-in-law used to say that.
Is he wrong?
Yeah, he's 100% wrong, dude. The guy is an insane woke leftist.
So
you believe in your truth.
In a postmodernist way.
So you believe in your truth. You don't believe in actual God.
No, a way that I can decipher it. Because your perception really does need to be influenced by objectivity to even be a perspective in the first place. You can't have a subjective without an objective.
Okay.
You can't have an inside without an outside. There's no way to contrast the two.
That's, yeah, for the most part.
I mean, you're a believer in God, right?
Yes.
And you believe God's objective.
Yes. Wow. Objective, loving, caring. And, I mean, if he's God, I don't claim to believe that he's only objective. I mean, he could be objective and subjective. I don't know. That guy is obviously way bigger than anything I could possibly imagine. And I wouldn't presume to sit there and assume that oh no, God's totally objective. No. That would be me putting something on God, and that would be blasphemy of me to do.
Objective is when something is outside of your control.
Yes.
Like you can't really control an objectivity. You can't change it with your subjectivity. Your subjectivity is inside you. It's inner.
Subjectivity is based on your own opinion. Objectivity
you can't
is based
change
on
God with your opinion.
Is based on the natural world and or the established rules of the thing that you're looking at, right?
Yeah. So God's will, the world that we're in, that's an objective thing.
God's will, probably objective to us. Most of us see it as subjective. Flat out. Show me 100 Christians, I'll show you 100 different forms of Christianity.
Yeah, so I don't know about this, but have you ever looked into Kierkegaard?
No.
Christian existentialism?
I briefly for a minute. So my question. I want to do this really quickly. So all of this that we've talked about tonight, why go after the people who are in the Iron Age and trying to promote indie creators?
Promote better and actually try to help them so that they can go beyond the tiny niche that they're in.
That's
I don't
what
mean
all
promote
of them
better,
are doing.
Like, be more louder. I mean promote better as in promote the ideal, the aesthetic that you hold that you know is true.
Well, the ideal that everyone in the Iron Age, and like I said, that's why, like the Iron Age, and actually I've said this in a live stream many times before, you could call it the pink fluffy fucking unicorn movement. The name itself doesn't matter.
Of course,
the idea is that the idea is that the individual is building their own thing and trying, and in that sense, the cream will rise to the top. The cream will rise to the top. You can do your best to help that person there, but the fact of the matter is whether I'm there or whether anybody else that I'm associated with is there to help promote them, if they're just really good at what they do, the cream will rise to the top.
Okay, and then when you say to the top, that's a hierarchy, right?
No, that's called money.
One's better than the other. One makes more money than the other. There's a hierarchy there, right?
No. I mean, money doesn't really have to do with a hierarchy. A hierarchy generally is a denotation of status in society. Why are you bringing it up?
Because when you have more money, you have a higher status. When you are better, you're a higher status than the ones who are not.
More people buy your books. What do you, why are you bringing sociopolitical things into this? That means absolutely nothing.
It does. It means almost everything. The left is the left right now because they're woke. And they're woke because they're leftists. That sounds
the left is the left. The left is the left because they believe in Marxism and Maoism, dude.
Yes.
They're not. It's not because they're woke. That's the symptom, not the disease. The disease is Marxism and Maoism.
Yes.
Okay. Get that very correct.
And
woke is the word that Fox News decided to use because they wanted to be popular, and I wish people would scrub it out of their mouths. And sadly, I will say this, I have actually heard it so much. It's one of those things your friends say something so much and you think it's a stupid word, you start saying it yourself. Sadly, I have actually adopted it into my own language, and I held out up until about a few months ago.
That's okay.
And it sucks.
It's colloquial.
It is, but it is so reductive to the actual problem. So you're saying that the only thing that people should want is to be better than people in life, not to just make a living off of the books that they sell.
Well, how much?
Because when I say the cream rises to the top, I'm saying financially a guy is going to make enough money to go out and sell his books. And you're saying, oh, that means he's better than people. Why are you equating it to some form of...
You said that people want to make money to live with their writing career, right?
Yup.
How much money do you need?
Average in the U.S. right now, I think for people to be well, I don't know. Inflation's ticked up in the last few years, so probably about 80 grand a year. Let's make a wild
guess. Let's say around 40,000, maybe 50,000, right?
80 grand a year. 80 grand a year. Money woes go away for a single person.
80 grand. How many books do you need to sell for that per year?
I don't know. I'm not an author. Why does that matter?
Promote and you don't know how to determine if somebody's going to be successful or not?
That's not my job. My job is to promote and have them sell themselves. I'm simply opening up
a to promote so that they can do the thing you want them to do, which is make a living wage.
Ew. Living wage. What the fuck?
Like quotation marks.
That's
wage.
No.
Like people are making like a living.
A living wage can be made with a rock and a stick in the forest as long as you can eat and survive.
Sure.
No, people want to actually live in the modern comforts of society. No, my job. Okay, so my job is
to write books so that they can live in modern society.
Yeah. Okay. My job is to bring them on, and I'm trying to My job is to grow my channel to bring fans and artists together. And then the artist gets to sit there on the interviews that I do with them and explain themselves to you. And I've had plenty of people say, hey, this artist isn't for me. And I say, okay, but that's okay. Because now you got to hear them talk to you, right? Now I'm giving a space for that to happen. And you as the individual get to decide that. My job isn't to sell someone else's books. That's their job. But you know what? There are a lot of people that have a good personality, that have a good heart. We might disagree on some things. But overall, you know, I understand the need for entertainment to be something that can be timeless again. And I want to work towards something that I can hand off to my children.
Okay. Do you advise that to the writers? Like when they come onto the show, do you say, hey, this one wasn't really timeless. This one wasn't really for children. Do you do that?
When the writers come on my show, they talk to my audience.
Yeah.
Okay. I give them their show. Now, when we do Comic Shop Wednesdays and we give just the brief overview, right? Because it's a live stream. All we can do is a brief overview. We can share the enthusiasm. We do also encourage everybody to go out there and share their reviews on Amazon or wherever they buy the books. Right? And if I buy the books, I do my reviews here on YouTube and I tell people what my problems are with them.
And then your review is like based on your opinion, not necessarily like a critique or objective thing, right?
Mostly critiques.
So it's like a criticism or analysis, or is it just a review?
Yeah, no, generally, yeah. If there's something that jumps out at me, I point out the things that I like and I point out the things that I didn't. I mean, how is that anything other than a critique?
No, I'm asking, like, is it for your personal perspective, or is it more like you're looking at some kind of generalized
group? You've watched a bunch of my live streams and stuff. You should already know the answer to this question. Why ask it? Okay. Especially because the audience that's here, especially because the audience that's here right now is mostly my audience. I don't know if I've seen any of your guys show up. But why ask this question if you already made a positive statement? Again, going back to that thing that you said where you're okay with telling things that are not factual.
On Twitter, yeah.
On Twitter, yeah. On Twitter. Where else is it okay in your life to do that? Where else is it okay in your life to lie?
Usually when dealing with crackheads, you have to kind of lie and be like, sorry, I don't have any money. And then you just run into the store.
No. I don't have cash on me. I don't carry cash. Hey, I don't carry cash. That's not a lie.
I have 3 cents in my pocket. I'm not going to give it to them.
Fuck, I'll give them 3 cents. Go away, crackhead. It's 3 fucking cents.
You know what I mean, though? It's like, white lies.
No.
Not really important. Nobody cares.
Okay, but when you're saying things on Twitter to especially a lot of the people, and I've seen you go back and forth, like you do a lot of replies in a day. I scrolled through a lot of the replies and I read the conversations that you have. And when you say the things that you say, okay, you're going for a reaction, obviously, knowing that a lot of it's not true. Why?
Any examples besides the conversation I had with you?
Why would we get examples on that? The conversation that I posted was here.
No, you brought up other things. I thought that was where the conversation's going.
Here's the thing. When it comes to all of the other replies, okay, knowing what I know now with you saying that it was okay for you to say things that weren't factual about me, that were a lie about Twitter, me. Yeah. Why does it? No, you said them. Why does it matter on Twitter? On Twitter. Yeah. Well, why does that matter? Why does the forum matter?
Do you think
why is it okay to lie in some instances but not others?
Do you think the internet is real life?
No, I believe that my word is real.
Do you believe the internet is real life?
I believe that my word is real.
Do you believe the internet is real life?
As in you can touch the internet?
As in, like, it truly matters to your real life.
Well, considering that my niece tried to dox my wife for being a pro-life advocate, it can very much come into real life.
Okay.
It can affect real life.
Affects real life, that's when it's a problem.
No. It's a problem always if you're not speaking as yourself. The idea that people think that they're different just because they're online That's causing a massive psychological problem in this country. And the fact that you don't see that and you advocate for it, you advocate that it's okay to be somebody different online?
Of course.
Really?
Yeah, it's no different than role-playing. No different than making works for entertainment. Get people lost inside of a fantasy world.
Wow. So you do that under the predication that everybody understands that, oh, you're just having fun and games. Even though you're attacking people and you're using statements about them that aren't true.
I'm sorry there's some people who think the internet is real life, okay? I'm sorry
No,
there's people
most
who
people are...
believe
What you need to understand is
everything they
most
see on the
people...
internet.
No, it's not that, dude. Most people... A lot of the people that I interact with use it as a business.
Okay.
And when people come out and attack them as their business, that's a very serious thing. That's a very serious thing to attack someone's money.
Were you harmed in
that's
money
what the
aspect?
leftist doing. I wasn't.
Okay.
But I see that other people
who
could
did I
be.
harm in the money aspect?
No, right now you haven't. Right now you haven't. What happens the day that you do?
Nothing
What
happened. But then you want to say something might happen?
My problem is with this entire
Is it like a
situation.
slippery slope or what?
My problem is with this entire situation. You took the moral high ground and told us that people needed to have a higher standard for what they did, and yet you hold yourself to a low standard.
How is it low?
No, you think it's okay to lie to people. You don't hold yourself to any of the words that you say on the internet. You can just
Who did I
willy-nilly
lie
say...
to in real life?
You lied to me. I'm here right now.
Did
You lied
I
to...
correct myself? Or did I just say,
No,
okay,
you
yeah,
didn't. You said,
whatever?
yeah, that's okay. You said, yeah, that's okay. You didn't correct yourself at all. You said, yeah, that's okay. It's on Twitter. Who cares?
Yeah, because if you say that's a
I'm
lie,
real.
okay,
You
it's
understand
that's
that
a
I'm
lie.
real and I'm sitting here talking with you, right?
Yes, but
You,
if said
you
that's a
understand
lie, I'd say,
other
yeah, okay,
people,
whatever.
like a telephone. Is a telephone real life? Can I call somebody and, oh, it's not real. I can lie to you all I want. You understand
Okay.
it's just a different form of communication. No different than a letter. No different than a telephone. No different than a fucking walkie-talkie that I use at work. You
Okay,
understand it's the same concept, right? You understand it's communication from one person to another. And as a society, when we start to break down communication to where we think it's okay to lie to people in any form of communication, we start to cause cultural divides that can't be healed, and that you're contributing to that, right? Because it's okay to lie whenever your face isn't up there. You understand that lying is destructive to the human condition, right?
Not necessarily, because isn't fiction not a truth?
No. There is
Or
a
is it a
difference. There is a difference between writing a story for entertainment values that uses principles from other parts of life and then making positive statements about people that are not factual, and then saying it's okay to say those positive statements about people.
So if I said you're a horse, would you freak out?
Why would I freak out in this particular instance?
I don't know. It's damaging your human reputation.
No.
It's a lie.
Your issue is, and the
Are you a
people who believe things like you believe it's okay to lie to other people as long as it's just on the internet.
As
What
long
you
as
don't
it's
understand.
just
So
nonsense.
but when you go after people and you're saying that their business isn't good,
when did I say your business isn't good?
when you're going after
say-
people, when you're
And-
going
or better
after
yet,
people, dude,
how
it's
did I
all over
say
your
it's not
replies.
good?
It's all over your replies on Twitter. I'll pull up your replies right now.
How did
and
I say it?
I'll go, I'm using the replies that I saw. When you go after people and you say, oh, in case they deny it later,
Yeah, they did.
and then you're accusing other people of being liars. And I've gone and I watched people reply
Many of
like,
these
yeah, I don't
people
take
who I
anything
said
back.
it in case they delete it, they're saying that it's okay to be woke under IronAge, which is a big thing for me because wokeness is a big reason why we have all this trouble with traditional publishing.
The Iron Age is a movement of independent creators that are not going through traditional publishing means.
Why would we have woke writers under it?
Most people wouldn't, because we wouldn't accept it. The individuals wouldn't accept it. But if somebody wants to be like, oh, I don't know, I wouldn't accept it. You'd have to talk with those people about it.
What is the
But like I said, you can
accept
actually be whatever faith you want and say, I'm tired of the corporate media absolutely eviscerating the time-tested stories and come out and tell stories. I've met horribly lefty people that love classic stories and love the classic tales that I've read.
But why?
And they think they're amazing.
But why do they like it?
I don't know. That's up to them. But they're horribly lefty. Would I say to them that they're not welcome to write their own book? And if the story isn't good, even though their belief might suck, but they leave that out of it, that it wouldn't be worth showing off to some people? So you're saying you can't be a Muslim and be Iron Age? You can't be Jewish and be Iron Age? You can't be woke and be Iron Age? You can be whatever you want, as long as you're telling stories that people enjoy. As long as you're telling stories that are time-tested and true. Again, the funny part about woke is that most of those people, they'll lie all the time. They'll make stuff up all the time. Nothing that they say has to have any congruency with what they said before. So the probability of it happening, not very high. Could it
what makes you think
happen? It could.
But why do you think it's not very high?
Because most of the people are Marxists. They want institutional control at the highest level of corporation and government. So for the most,
Iron Age as a hashtag becomes big, would they try to take it over?
Oh, of course they would. Absolutely, they fucking would. And then most of the people who are creative,
to take it over?
And most of the people who, if they tried to come and take it over, there's going to be some people that would fight back. There's going to be the early people that say, you know what, fuck this, I'm out, right? But it's going, what you don't understand is the sentiment. Again, it could be called the pink fluffy fucking unicorn movement. Who cares? It's the sentiment of people. So they come and they hijack the word, and then they take the word, but then everybody else keeps creating. Everybody else keeps building. Everybody else who made connections keeps those connections and spreads those connections and spreads that stuff and keeps going. Because it's happened before. The difference is it's getting big enough now, and these people are making so many mistakes now that there's actually a chance about people coming in and checking out other indie creators. We're about an hour and a half into this at this point. I do want to give you the final word because I actually really have to go to the bathroom really badly. I do apologize.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, don't worry.
I'm human. It's the bladder. But regardless of me being animated and all that, I 100% appreciate you being respectful. Thank you very much. This entire time, you've been completely respectful. That is fantastic of you. I do appreciate that. And I will let you do the final word here. You can shout out whatever you would like to shout out, or if you just want to say goodbye, you're more than welcome to. But absolutely go for it.
Okay, Doug. So the only shout out I have is my RTDLH subreddit. It is a subreddit where we actually help artists learn more about art, down to the aesthetic of beauty. We go down through how alchemy works when it comes to art, because it's pre-modernist. We do not accept things that are post-modernist as the be-all, end-all. We reject wokeness. I even made a test about to see who you are as an author, whether you're pre-modernist, modernist, post-modernist, or woke. And usually I just write essays discussing aesthetics or how something failed, why certain things are failing, how to do better. People will ask questions about their own stories, and we go through those. Have a Discord attached to it if anybody wants to join that. We don't usually ban people unless they're doing something that's, obviously illegal. So don't worry about any of that. We're very accepting. We just don't accept the bullshit. And this is why I like to play with bullshit, because I kind of know how it works. The whole discussion I wanted to have here. You want to say something?
Oh, I just said awesome. I was just
okay.
No, I like when people promote themselves. I just do. I think anybody promoting themselves and working it to what they're going for, what their goal is that's what people should do. And I actually think we're coming towards times where that's really where we're going to be headed. So
Okay.
no, I was just saying awesome.
That's okay. So, I guess I can make a comment about that one. I don't really see a very reasonable, benefit just promoting something that might be for an individual when the collective, the market, that is something like a John Locke collective, isn't actually positively reacting to it. If it's just if it's the individual pretty much jerking off the individual, that doesn't mean anything.
The idea is to give choice to people, and people will make their choices. That's it.
But maybe we should narrow down the choices to beneficial ones that actually have a lane, an actual path towards a movement that works.
How do you do that without talking to people?
Well, that's the
all I
thing.
do.
When you block
talk with people. I talk with people
when you mute people, you're leaving them out of the conversation.
I don't do that. I don't do that.
I don't mean you like you. It's like a royal you.
Oh, you were using okay. Really quick. No, I get you. Really quickly, I got some super chats that I'm going to read as I do the outro. Like I said, I do have to go to the bathroom very badly. I appreciate you coming on, man. And again, thank you for keeping it civil. I appreciate it. Like I said, despite me being animated, I'm animated. I talk loud. That's how I am. I didn't mean any of that, aggressively. So, all right, let's go here. A.S. Brunert, member for 4 months on the YouTube channel, says, Veritas non habat prondus nunque qui loncontar. Man, my Latin is way out of date. Ugh. God, I gotta practice again. Yeah, it was bad. I learned Latin when I was not spoken Latin, church Latin, but Wrangler for 420 says Gen X, rock on. I'm not Gen X, dude. That's you. I'm not old. Well, I guess I'm an old. I don't know. I'm over 30. Are you over 30? You don't have to answer that if you don't want to.
I'm exactly 30.
Oh, there you go. Oh, you're an old too. Oh, welcome. No, I'm just messing with you. Maji Chen for $10 says average person equals IronAge allows a no-name person to publish where publishers wouldn't let them. There you go, Maji Chen. That's not a bad way to say it. Wrangler for 420. Sorry, I have to do it. It's a joke. Every time he says, touch the butt. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, be like Nemo. Touch the butt, the like button. Be like Nemo, ladies and gentlemen. Touch that like button. Sorry.
And don't mistake it for the dislike button.
Right. No, they can do that too. Sometimes it happens.
Wear your glasses when you're pressing buttons.
Right. All right. The Lord Order for $2 OSR is oh God, greater than BROSR. What? I don't understand you, Lord Otter. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for being here on tonight's special episode. I do appreciate it. And we will see you guys all tomorrow night for the Wednesday night comic shop. We're going to shout out some fantastic creators, check out some new projects, and hopefully we find a new favorite tomorrow. See you all next time. Cheers, everybody.